Prospero's books obviously was very much a lifetime ambition, really, to get
It was,
the
and
Tempest
I was so
on film.
thrilled to meet Greenaway, who I'd admired so much in the Draftsman's Contract. I think it's created great controversy. People either like it very much or don't like it at all. And he's quite aware of that.
And he persuaded you to do your first nude scenes at age 86?
Yes, he did. But everybody else was nude on the set, so I didn't think it was comely in me to refuse. I didn't think I had such an enormous stomach that it would look too terrible. And the only shot that they showed my full length and back was done by my double, so I didn't have to do that.
Why did you love the character of Prospero so much? Was it that he is partially almost a director figure, a manipulator
I think so.
figure?
There is something of that, yes. And I adored the speeches. And also there was a kind of, well, the magic of the play. And it was so funny because I remember meeting Jonathan Miller once, who I've always had a sort of love-hate relationship with, on Nice airport. And I said to him, I've been to see your Tempest. Why do you have... I did admire two things in it. The little girl, Donald Pleasant's daughter, who played Miranda, who I believed for the first time had never seen a man except Caliban and her father, and also the black Caliban, Norman Beaton, who I thought did very good. But I said, why did you have that awful set where nobody could get in or out of the stage? And he said, oh, I wanted to get rid of all that magic nonsense. And I thought, to take on the Tempest and not have any feeling for the magic is rather peculiar. And I was rather cross with him.
You were talking about daughters, young daughter of 15 and so on. Do you actually regret that there are not lots of little Gielguds? Well, they'd be 60 years old now, so they'd be great big Gielguds.
I'm rather sad that I haven't got any family left except my niece, who's made a huge success running the Australian ballet. And she was a very good dancer too. But she'll keep my name on a bit, which is nice. Yes, I am sorry there isn't anybody else with my name. But I never wanted to have children. I'd be terrified they'd inherit all my worst qualities, and none of the ones that might perhaps be good. Also, I have been so absorbed in the theatre all my life that I've never felt a need. And I was very close to my parents, more than to my brothers and sister. And I lived at home till I was about 25. So that they satisfied my family. My mother was a tremendous one for keeping us all together. We all used to meet and rather look at each other askance at Easter and Christmas and birthdays and things. But she was a great one for family. And I was always thinking, well, I don't know, why should we have my cousins? I don't like them very much. But she wanted everybody should be herded together. And that put me off families, rather. Although I was enormously admiring of my Terry relations, my older, their contemporaries. But I never felt when I got older, I don't know whether I veered more to be friendly with my contemporaries rather than with children. I don't think I've ever been good with children.
Do you think you'll ever act on stage again?
I wouldn't think so unless something happened to come along. Best of Friends came along out of the blue, and I liked it very much and enjoyed playing it. And I did it on radio and then on television, so it stood me in very good stead for nearly 2 years. And it was a very appropriate part. I'd be very beware of doing anything that I felt I could no longer convince an audience. At one time I thought actors couldn't go on too long. But Edith Evans, who was my great idol for so many years, I felt she I would rather not have seen her do her readings at the end of her life, because she lacked so much wonderful power that I admired so much in her. Whereas Sybil Thorndike went on practically to the end. I could always have watched her. You know, even when she was practically disabled, she could still speak and move and excite you.
Who do you think, after all the different plays you've performed, who do you think was the world's second best dramatist?
Oh, Chekhov.
Chekhov. Why?
Well, because they bring a different world. They bring the world of the novel onto the stage in the most extraordinary way, don't they? They're like reading a book. This conglomeration of people and their moods and their ups and downs and virtues and vices are so wonderfully and then put together in this extraordinary sort of musical and even in translation, musical way. The Three Sisters is like a symphony of 4 movements. You know, you can, and they're wonderful acting parts and wonderful pictures of mood. They really are like music.
We talked earlier about the way you've survived, and there was that line in The Best of Friends about the angel of death seems
Quite to have forgotten me.
Yes, and which seems like an apposite comment yourself. But that's the good side. Presumably the difficult side is that you've lost so many of your contemporaries and friends. I mean...
Dreadful. Every month almost somebody goes. Just recently, Judith Anderson, of course, who I worked with a lot, Peggy Ashcroft, Gwen Franken Davis, and above all, Ralph and Larry. So that one does feel a bit alone in that world. But I'm terrified of becoming a sort of boring old guru and of going to theatres and being sort of too much respected. It's very valuable, I think, if one does go on working, to have somebody who has the courage to say, oh, that isn't very good, or it's... And Peter Brook used to say that always to me. Greenaway didn't say it really, because I think he thought my Prospero had been thought out all right. But on the whole, both Lindsay and Peter Hall and Peter Brook were very, very good at checking me in becoming old-fashioned. In my own time, when we were at the end of the war, when I had rather an elderly company, I found that some of the old actors were becoming sort of caricatures of themselves. And there is a trouble if you have rather a strong personality, that you sort of exaggerate that when you become old and give a kind of caricature of your own worst performances. I used to have what they called my Shylock face. You know, I'd draw my face down and make grimaces and things that I have to keep on controlling. And I must have somebody to say, you don't do that, it isn't good. Just as much one needs it when one's old as one does when one's young. But people are apt to be too respectful of you to do so. And I don't like creating too much awe. My chief fear is that I haven't been quite ferocious enough myself in my own personality through my life. I've been too keen to be popular and to be liked by people. And so I've managed very often to be alarming to people I want to not to be alarmed, and not alarming enough to people I shouldn't be.
What would you do differently in your life if you had those 87 years to live over again?
Oh, I don't know. We all want something that we don't quite know what to want. What I find funny is that I keep on thinking, well, I can't be interested in the Channel Tunnel because I shan't be here to see it. And that's a very funny feeling, that there are so many things you feel you needn't bother about anymore, because you know you won't have to.
Well, you said, like Prospero's books, being here for that was like beating the tax man, you said. Yeah. What is there that you know now at 87 that would have helped you an awful lot if you'd known at 20? Are there things?
How to hold my tongue.
Really?
I talk too much, very, very often, very stupidly and very impetuously.
Did you? What do you mean?
Well, I've hurt people's feelings, and I've said stupid things, and I've gossiped too much, and made bad friends, and not got rid of them at the right time. And carried my very selfish life. Self-centered and selfish, which I am rather ashamed of.
Have you had a wide or small circle of friends, or have you been lonely at times?
Yes, I rather like being alone in many ways. I don't mind it at all, except when I'm ill or frightened.
What's been the moment of greatest pride in your life?
Well, I suppose the first Hamlet that I made a success in, but I didn't expect to.
That was your moment of greatest pride?
I think so.
And basically, your voice has been your glory and everyone's glory, with all the wonderful descriptions of it. Has the fantastic quality of your voice ever been a drawback?
Oh, yes, because I became too fond of it, and I played in it too much, and I was apt to sing instead of speaking. And I have to check myself all the time when I speak poetry, and not to soar and fall in love with myself.
How long would you like to live? Would you like to be 100?
No, no. I don't think so. I suppose if I do become in my 90s, I shall want to, but I certainly don't want to now.
Some are born great, some achieve greatness, and some have greatness thrust upon them. Twelfth Night. Which were you, do you think?
No, I wouldn't think any of them.
Shakespeare also said, just death, kind umpire of man's miseries. Is death, do you look on death as the tax man or as just and relieving you of miseries or...
Oh, no, I'm frightened of it, of course, like everybody, particularly if I regret leaving many things that I enjoy very much, and people I enjoy very much, and I also regret, feel frightened, of course, of illness and discomfort and pain and all that.
Do you think that after the final curtain comes down, do you think that there is a
No, I don't.
green room in the sky?
I'm afraid I don't. I don't believe in reincarnation or anything.
You don't believe in heaven?
Not really.
I once asked Noel Coward, what's your idea of heaven? And he said, tonight at 8:30, he said. But you don't have a vision of heaven.
Yeah.
As you look through and think through, do you still exercise your mind by learning things and memorizing things?
No, I don't. Sybil Thorndike used to, and I wish I had the energy to. I find I'm a bit lazy like that. But I do read a great deal of things that I still read Shakespeare and an awful lot of all sorts of literature.
Do you still like trashy novels like Harold Robinson?
Oh, yes.
Who are you on to now?
J.K. Collins.
Oh, really?
No, not really. But I glance through them, I confess.
Looking back over your life and all the things you've memorized from Shakespeare and from other people, as we sit here in the Playhouse Theatre in your 88th year, what are the lines that come back to you that mean most to you?
Well, there's a great line which I think I spoke at Larry's funeral, memorial service, which Hamlet says at the end of the play, in which he says, if it be now, it is not to come. If it be not to come, it will be now. If it be not now, yet it will come. The readiness is all. Since no man hath aught of what he leaves, what is to leave betimes, let be.